I think this is probably the warmest day we've had this year. Amazing sunshine all day long. And we're having to actually leave that greenhouse door open for the first time as well, because temperature soon builds up in your greenhouse. So we're just keeping as eye on as plants at the moment. The ones that we've spent all these cold months growing to get to a decent size, ready for spring. And now we're into April, it is going to start and get a little bit warmer, and it's lighter that little bit later, which is brilliant. When you finish work, instead of closing your curtains, you can go out into the garden, into your greenhouse and get a few jobs done. And I've noticed that just over Easter, we've had a little bit more advancement on that potato plant. I think it's time that we took this bubble wrap out. This has got to a good size now. That's our first early rocket potato, and it's only in a 10-litre tub. But as you can see, it's doing perfectly fine. And we've also got all those other potatoes planted in little pots to grow on. That's another rocket. That is now on its way as well. And then when these get to about 6 inches tall, we'll be transplanting them into 10-litre pots, or maybe even larger. We'll see how we go with that. But just a few degrees change in weather makes all the difference. We haven't seen much from this beetroot, but we have got the start of something there. The warmer it gets, the faster things are going to germinate. And April's probably your busiest month at year. And if you're not sure what to sow and grow through April, we have got a playlist that we made last year that shows you exactly what to sow and grow all the way through year, month by month and week by week. I'll leave a link to it up there at the end of this video, so you can go to that playlist and maybe take a look at this month and the month after, just to give you a heads up on what you should be doing and what seeds you're going to need. My peppers have got some right size on them now. That is the size of his peppers so far. They're really coming on. We're going to have to start and get these planted on as well at some point. But if you remember, we did top one just to see how it'd get on. We just pinched the top 4 leaves off it, because by doing that it forces it to produce side growth, so it'll get extra side shoots, more flowers, a bushier plant that should get more peppers. And that wasn't too long ago, but hopefully you can see now that because we've done that, we've got these little side shoots appearing. Tiny little shoots now appearing in between the branches of these plants. So that is going to become a nice bushy one. But we're not doing peppers today. We've got us tomatoes on go. We need to wait for his cherry tomatoes to germinate to get them going. We've got some very small tomato plants at the moment. I think these two have been a bit overshadowed by peppers. So I'm going to stand them separate on here, make sure they get plenty of sun, and we'll give them a quick water as well. Very small at the moment, so we just need to keep on top of them, encourage them to grow. And these are the money makers. We're only doing a couple of those this year because we're doing them in containers. But one other thing that I'm going to be doing is some container spring onions. I got quite a lot of these caravan wash balls last year and they were brilliant. We grew all sorts of things in them: onions, carrots, salads, beetroots. You'll probably remember from last year's container gardening. So I've got a couple of those. So I'm going to start off with some spring onions, because I personally harvest spring onions just for those green tops. So you can put loads of seeds in there, cut those green tops off to chuck in your salads or stir fries, and then those green tops grow back again, and they can do that 2 or 3 times or more. And I actually did that last year, and we took 3 cuttings of green tops and then I just left it alone, and it still produced bulbs. So very versatile to do in a tiny container with a small amount of compost. It's brilliant for your container gardening. So that's the plan for today. One of many, more than likely, because there is lots to do. I think I need to sieve a little more just to finish this container off, but it's virtually full. So I'll sieve a little bit extra, and then we'll get some container spring onions on go as well this year. And don't forget that with your salads and your spring onions, you want to be sowing fresh seeds every 2 weeks. and then you'll have a continuation of that harvest all the way through here. I think I'm borderline getting sunburnt here. It's a good feeling so early in year. So I'm going to water a couple of bits and bobs, sieve some compost, and then we'll get these seeds popped in this container and get a fresh batch of container spring onions, aren't we? And just before I do that, thank you very much to Anne Graham for donating to the channel over Easter. Massively appreciated and really generous of you. So we'll get that put to good use during what is going to be the busiest month of 2024. So thank you so much, Anne. It was very kind of you to do that. And I hope everybody had an amazing Easter holiday. Let's sieve this compost. So now it's just a case of filling this to the top. We're going to put cling film over this as well, because that's a really cheap homemade propagator that retains moisture while your seeds germinate. So basically filled to the top, and then we're going to squash it down about 1 inch or so, just so we've got a bit of clearance, because when these little shoots appear we don't want them hitting that cling film. So we give them a good inch clearance, flat off all that compost so it's nice and even. So I want them all growing at the same level basically. And if you do put cling film over your containers, just remember that as soon as those seedlings appear, you need to take that off. So now we can sow our seeds, and I'm using a different one this year. And this one's called Spring Matrix. I don't know if anybody else has ever grown these. I think there's about 300 seeds in this packet as well. So we can definitely do a few of those little caravan wash bowls. So as you can see, a nice level bed, and we're going to get a good amount of moisture in there as well. Normally when you do this and then put cling film over the top, you don't have to water them anymore, because it consistently maintains that moisture that you originally put in. Doesn't hurt to check though now and again as it gets warmer. So a nice amount of moisture in there, and then we'll get a seed sown. So basically what I do with these is I kind of overseed. See, these seeds are like little bits of coal, slightly different to white Lisbon seeds. So basically broadcast over the top of that area and make it as dense as you want. If you're looking for bulbs, don't put as many in, because you can grow bunches of spring onion bulbs in here. But because I want green tops, I'll put in more than I normally would. I just want the entire container full of those amazing green onions. So I'm just going to add a few more. And then it's that fine covering using colander. Very thin layer of compost. And we'll get these onions on the way really quickly. So as you can see, it doesn't take long. And that's all those seeds covered. And then a covering of that cling film. And you're done. And that's your container spring onions, all good to go. So a very warm sunny day today, and we've got another container of spring onions on go. And we've got plenty of these left to do some more. But you don't have to use those specific containers. Use any container you can lay your hands to, especially if it's free. Just make sure you drill holes in the bottom of every container that you do. Otherwise, you're going to run risk of rotting your roots. So everything that you sow needs to be in a container that's got drainage. It was asked at some point over Easter. So I've got a few more things that I need to do. A bit of watering, set up maybe another spring onion container, and what I'll do is I'll pop that link up there that tells you what to sow and grow 12 months a year. So you can just go onto the playlist, select April, and it'll show you that bigger than you think list of things that we're going to be doing this month. So thank you so much for being part of the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see what we're going to be doing through the rest of spring, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.